So we're going to talk about the FieldWorker app today. So this is the online version of the FieldWorker app, which you can always log into on your computer by going to servicefusion.mobi. That's MOB as in boy, I. So this is how you would log into this version of the FieldWorker app. So when you first log into the FieldWorker app, you're going to see this page where you have the options to refresh on. You'll see my work, customers, map view, my team, inventory, create new, your clock in and clock out information. If you don't have specific access to specific information, you may not see, my team or customers or so forth. The first thing I want to talk about is this section up here, refresh. Anytime you click on that, that's going to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information in your uh, FieldWorker app. The next option I want to talk about are these 6 boxes in the top right. So you can always click on these 6 boxes and you'll have the option to, one, log out of your account, view your profile. So if you click on My Profile, you'll see the basic information, your name, number, email. If you need to change it, you can change it here, but you can also tap to reset password. So if you don't want to keep the current password that you have in Service Fusion, you can come into those 6 boxes, click on My Profile, tap to reset password, enter your current password once and your new password twice, and save. And that's going to update your password for all of Service Fusion. The next option you have is time log. And this is going to show you the times that you've clocked in or clocked out in Service Fusion. And if you have rights to edit that, you can edit that directly from the FieldWorker app by entering in the information. So we see now that it says 8 a.m. clock in. So the next things, we're going to go through each of these 6 boxes, but first I want to show you the clock in and clock out. So here you're always going to see the option. If you are clocked in, you will see the option to clock out, and you'll see the last time that you took a specific action. If you're clocked in, you'll also see the option to start break. If you're on break, you'll see the option to end break. And if you're clocked out, you're going to see the option to clock in. So it's always going to be what is logical with that, with the timestamp and information of the last action. The first box that we're going to talk about is My Work. When you click in My Work, it's always going to populate the information for today's date, the current folder of My Work. You're going to see today's date, and you're going to see any jobs or estimates that you have rights to view. So I have the right to view unassigned jobs and estimates and jobs that are assigned to other users. So I'm going to see that information in here. And I can always look into those specific informations. I can view the specific jobs of anything that I have access to. I also have other folders in the My Work section. The past folder is going to show me either complete past work or incomplete past work. So maybe I need to go back to a job I worked on yesterday. I can come in here, I can select the specific information. I can say this is for this. I need to enter anything for that. I can click on that from complete, or on the incomplete, I can view information and select the specific information here. Maybe I want to add additional notes or anything. So that's the past folder. The future folder is going to show me what I have scheduled for the future, anything that I have rights to view. So I have undated, and I can see that information, and I can see specific dates. I can see here that on Sunday I have a job at this location. So I can kind of plan my schedule out from that. And if I have rights to view other users, I'll see their schedule as well. So that's the My Work section. The next section we'd like to talk about is the Customer section. So this is going to be the customer information where I can view the customer detail from the FieldWorker app. So I can click on customers and I can scroll to a specific customer, or I can start searching for one. If I have one that I want to search for, I just have to start typing in actually only the first 3 letters, and I'll see that information. In the detail, I'll be able to view the customer name, the contact information, and so forth if I need to add any additional notes, their addresses, and their job and estimate history. I can also create a brand new estimate or job directly from the customer detail. If I have a customer that is marked as VIP, I will be able to see that they are VIP here in the customer detail on the FieldWorker app. The next section here is the map view. In the map view, I'm going to be able to see information here. I see number 1, this job. I can look at the information on that and view it, other jobs. I can just scroll through and view information. On the My Team, I'm going to see the location of users that I have rights to view. So let's go ahead and scroll in here. We see that I have rights to view Keith, Russell, and Jen here. And then I'm located over here, and I can see that information from the FieldWorker app. If I want to scroll out and have it show, I just have to scroll. And on my device, I'll be able to zoom in or zoom out. The next option here is the inventory. So in the inventory, I'm going to be able to view my inventory items and the stock levels and what specific warehouse it's located in. So maybe I know I need to go pick up a specific amount of inventory for something. I can search a specific product. All I have to do is start typing in the first 3 letters, and I can say, okay, so I need to have this. I need to make sure it's in my truck and so forth. So I can do that directly from the inventory section. The next section is the Create New, and this is where you have the option to create a brand new calendar task, estimate, or job from the FieldWorker app. So if you select the option for calendar task, you'll have the option to tell yourself it's a call, email, or miscellaneous. So you can enter that. You see that it did automatically populate today's date and time, but I can edit that information in here if needed. So maybe I want to make sure that tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, I can type that in. I can also, change here. And I can enter the change time to 5. I have a doctor's appointment. I want to make sure it's assigned to me, and I can put in the information about this. So I can say I have a doctor appointment so that I know here, make sure everybody can see this. I can create that so that other users know that I have a doctor's appointment and not to schedule a certain job or anything at that time for me. I can also go into my work and look at future and see that tomorrow I have that information. I have that there. The other option I have here is to create a brand new estimate. So if I click Create New Estimate, it will bring up a blank estimate page in the FieldWorker app where I can start entering the customer's information. If it is a customer that has already been entered into Service Fusion, all I have to do is start typing in their name, select them, and it will populate this information. If it's a brand new customer, I can manually type in the information, enter any custom fields. This is a customer custom field that I have in this, and I can click Save. I then would have the option to select a specific address, or I can manually type in a new address for the specific customer. So I now have a customer for this estimate. I can enter in a date and arrival time. So if I want to do it for today, I can enter in that information here, the specific time. And manually type it in or use my toggles. The automatic duration will be an hour, but if I do need to change that, I can change that. I can enter in the description of this estimate, and if there are any custom fields that I need to fill out, I can enter that in this section as well. And then I can create the estimate. When I click on Create Estimate, I'm going to see the estimate number populate and the summary. So it's going to be the customer, the time, date, and so forth. I can go back into the estimate to add and view other information by clicking on View Estimate Details. So I see this estimate is in the status of estimate created or requested, and I see the date and time, the arrival time window, the estimated duration, and who it's assigned to. If I want to view more information about the customer, I can click on Info, and that's going to bring up the customer detail where I see the customer contact, any custom fields and so forth, and I'll see job history in this section as well. I also will have the option of viewing this location in a map. So if I click on View Driving, Get Driving Directions, it's going to take me to my option 2, see the driving directions here from my device. I also have the option to add or update any photos. So if I'm on my tablet or device, when I click Add New, it'll ask me if I want to add photos from my gallery or if I want to take a photo, and I'll be able to add that in there. I'll also be able to get signatures from my customer on my device, and I'll be able to view those signatures by clicking on the signature section. I see the location populate, the description populate, any custom fields. If I need to go back and enter any information on the custom fields, I can enter that in here. I also would have the option of seeing additional visits, and if I have rights, I can update or add additional text to the specific estimate. In my task list, I can have a long task list. Maybe I need to grade the backyard. I can enter task here, and then as I've completed the specific task, I can check them off, and they'll show both here in the FieldWorker app as checked off, but also in the back office. I can also add notes, and just add notes. As needed, these are notes that would be visible on the estimate, both in the back office and the FieldWorker app, but would not necessarily print on the PDF version or printable version of the estimate. I can also add documents. So if I have a document on my phone that I want to save in the specific estimate or job, I can come in here, select the specific document, and it will show on the estimate or job in this section, which can be selected. It will also save that into the customer's page on their profile. I can add equipment. If I have equipment already saved in this specific customer, I would be able to select it from here, or I can manually add that information in this section. I also would be able to click on the estimate section and enter any products or services that I want to. So I can just start typing in the specific product or service, enter that. I can select that. If I need to change the sales tax, I can do that. I can add an additional description. I can save that in there. I'll be able to view that on the specific job. I can just click Add this service. And when I click on the Estimate tab, I see that that information is in there. If I wanted to add a specific discount or fee to this estimate, I can click on Adjust Current Charges, and I would be able to click Expand on Fees and Discounts. I can select the specific option that I want to select. I can determine that. Maybe I want it to be a 20% discount, 10% discount, whichever one I want to add, or whichever ones I want to add, I can add that in here, and I can enter that information. I also will be able to save my status as we go through this. So maybe I want it to go into a different status, and I can do that as I need to in this section. If I've already provided the estimate, I can change the status to provided. But to change a status from the FieldWorker app, you'll be able to edit the status up here. Let's say that I've talked to this specific customer and I want to email them this estimate. So I see that their email address automatically populates, and I can select the specific email template that I want to show here. And if I have images or documents, I can select those to be attachments, and then I can click Send, and that email will go to the customer. So that's how you would create an estimate from the FieldWorker app. We're going to move on now to creating a brand new job from the FieldWorker app. To create a job, just like creating an estimate, I can click Create New, and that's going to bring up a blank job. So I can enter the customer. Again, if I have a customer that's already entered and I'm creating a job for them, all I have to do is start typing in the first three letters. It's going to populate everything with those three letters, and I can select that specific customer. I can then enter any other information from here as we go through it. If I have a specific location, I can choose that, or I can manually type in a location, and I can say, I can enter a date and time for this job. So if I am going to do this today at noon, I can enter that information in here, type it in. I can say 12 p.m. to, we're going to arrive between 12 and 1 or p.m. And the duration is going to take about 3 hours. I can enter a description and category if I have a specific category that I want to do. And this is going to be a full pull service, so I can add that. I can add any information for any custom fields. If I need to dispatch this to another technician, I can select that here. And once I click Create Job, I'm going to see the job number and the summary. I can click on View Job Details, and that's going to take me into the specific information. So let's say we are on the way to this job. It's close to noon, and I need to get to the specific job. When I start my journey to this job, I can come into the status and click on the status of on the way. That's going to send out the automatic text message of on the way to the technician, and, to the customer from the technician from Service Fusion, and then they'll see the information that you have in that on the way text message. The next thing, I'll see the date and time here. I'm going to be able to view the detail of this customer if I need to in this section. I also will be able to get directions to the specific location. I can click Get Driving Directions, and it's going to populate in my device's direction option, and I can see that information. I also will be able to add photos or edit photos. Just select the specific photo that I need to add in this. I can add it in there. And that's going to be visible both from the FieldWorker app and the back office. And once we arrive on site, I'll be able to click on the status and select the status of on site. The way I have my settings set up, I have it set that when the technician arrives on site, that the labor clock automatically starts calculating. So we saw it go to on-site, and now we've seen it change to started. And that's because when I clicked on-site, that stopped the drive time clock, and started has now begun the labor clock. And I can accept a pre-work or post-work signature from this specific customer. I also will be able to have any description, and I can update the description at any time. All I have to do is select that, and I can do more information. I can change that and update that at any time. I also can go and enter any information in my custom fields. I can add an additional site visit directly from the FieldWorker app here if I needed to schedule a visit for tomorrow or another day, or for another tech even. I can add completion notes as I go through. Just click Edit Notes, add the notes. If I check on this box for requires follow-up, that will populate this job in the dispatch views on the back office of Service Fusion in March for follow-up. I also would have the option of adding or editing the technician. I can view any task on the job. If tasks are added to a job from the back office, I'm going to see them here and I can check them off as I go. Or I can just add a task from the FieldWorker app here. I can also add notes. I also am going to have the ability to select View Activity Log, and I'll see the information for this job and what has happened at what point. I can add a document from my device onto this job here, and that will save it. not only on the job but also in the customer's file. I can select specific equipment, just enter the information for that. If there's equipment already saved on the customer's file, I'll be able to select it from this drop down. And finally, I can add products and services. So if there's a specific product or service that I want to add in there, I can select add product or service, whichever one, and I just have to start typing in the specific product or service. We're going to do a full pull service. If I want to view more options on that, maybe it's a different rate. I can select that. I can enter the specific tax. Again, I can change any of the information in here. I can view any pictures that are on this specific product or service, and I can add or edit any description. I then would have the option of click on expand all. I see that information in there. This is a flat rate service, so there's additional products in that specific service. I can also add an expense directly to my job. I can just select the date, the category, where it was purchased from, the amount, and I can determine whether or not it is billable to the customer. If it is, I can enter that information in here, mark the note, and save. I also would have the option to add a discount or fee from the Field Worker app by clicking on adjust current charges, and then I can click on expand. In fees and discounts, I can select a specific discount or fee. Maybe I want a 25% discount. I see that amount populate, and I can save job charges, and that's going to populate for that here. If I have the abilities to edit my own times, we see that my drive time was from 10:19 to 10:20. You can see that information here. And currently, since I'm still working, it's from 10:20 for my labor time to 11:59. I can, if I have rights to update that, I can edit that. I can also mark it as billable in the Field Worker app. I can update the times and so forth. And finally, I'll see the information now. If I need to accept a payment before the job is in the completed status in Service Fusion, I will be able to click on the option to apply deposit, and that will allow me to accept a payment for this job. I also have the option of emailing the job to the customer. I can just select the specific template. I can enter the information. If I have product pictures or documents, I can select those to go as attachments as well. I also can email or print the job if I have a mobile printer myself. So once I click on the option of completed, we'll see one thing change down here in the invoice tab. So in the invoice tab now, instead of accept deposit or apply deposit, we now see finalize invoice. So once the job is completed by all users on the job, so any tech assigned, I'll be able to click on the option of finalize invoice. I'm going to then see the invoice number populate, and from here I can accept a payment. So if I'm accepting a payment on a specific job, I can select the payment method. I can determine who is receiving that payment, enter in the reference number, any memo, and I can submit payment. Once I have that submitted, I would have the option to email. Even before it's submitted, I would have the option to email or go back into the job. I can also accept a post-work signature for this specific job. And those are visible in the back office in the job. And I can see the information for this job. I can see the amount, the total due, and I can also go back to email invoice, print invoice if I want to directly from my Field Worker app. So that's going to walk you through the options in the Field Worker app, all the way from creating a job to finishing and accepting payments. So let's see here if there are